Question 6.41. A ball is thrown up in the air, reaching a height of 5 meters. Using energy conservation consideration, determine its initial speed. So let's sketch the question. Suppose this is the initial position, the reference point of the ball, and this is the highest point. So the height at which the ball is thrown up is 5 meters. So this is the height difference between the 2 points. We know that at the highest point, when the motion is just along y-axis, at the highest point, speed of the ball is equal to 0. The velocity of the ball at the highest point will be 0. And at the lowest point, when we are just starting the motion, at the reference point, we take the height to be equal to 0. Now, according to law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of energy says that energy at any point must always be equal. Total energy in an isolated system at any point must be equal. So energy at my initial point, total energy at initial point must be equal to total energy at the final point. Now, total energy can be written as sum of kinetic plus potential. So let me write initial total energy must be equal to final. Initial total energy will be sum of initial kinetic plus potential, and final will be sum of final kinetic plus potential. Now, since we take the height at the initial point to be 0, at the reference point the height is 0, potential energy at this point will also be 0. Whereas at the highest point, since my velocity is 0, kinetic energy at the highest point has to be 0. So at the initial position, my total energy is just kinetic and potential is 0. At the final position, my total energy is just potential and kinetic is 0. So this is 0 here and this is 0 here. So I'm left with initial kinetic energy is equal to final potential energy. All of my kinetic energy at the initial point has been converted to potential energy at the final point. So let's write down kinetic energy is half mv squared. Potential is mgh. We can cancel off m's and then we write v squared by 2 equals gh. Multiply by 2 on both sides. Take the square root. So this is my final expression for velocity, speed at the highest point. Let's substitute. G is 9.81, height is 5 meters. And when you substitute this, you get your answer as 9.90 meters per second.